Hi, I'm Jen. This is the Roving Crafters, and on this Sunday, I'm demonstrating magic loop knitting. Now, magic loop is a very powerful technique that you can use to work in the round, and you can make very small diameter pieces with circular needles when you use this technique. I'm going to keep working my magic loop while talking now. And then I will stop and slow down and demonstrate and explain exactly what I'm doing. But let me just say first, I've been teaching knitting for quite a while, and I've met more than a few knitters that have tried magic loop. They've seen it demonstrated or had it explained, and it didn't quite take. And honestly, they feel pretty frustrated. This video is for you. Magic loop can be frustrating because there's different techniques, there's different ways to set up your piece and work your loops. And if that's not made clear that there's more than one way to skin this cat, then I think that can be confusing. The other thing is you have to use the right kind of needles. There is a wrong kind of needles, or at least there's a kind that will make magic loop very, very difficult. These I like. I'll get back to them. Let me show you two sets that I wouldn't like at all. I'll start with these. Now, these are the same diameter tips as the one I'm using, but the cords are much shorter, and that's why I wouldn't like them. I know it's counterintuitive, but short cords make for difficult magic looping. There's a lot of tension in these, and they spring and bounce out. And if I were to try and make a small piece like this with these cords, I would be fighting the tension the whole time, and I would hate it. Here's another set. Perfectly good circular needles. They are a little bit longer and they're definitely more flexible, but they have these bends in the tips. And these bends are going to work against you in magic loop. They might be great for helping you get a grip, and they're great if you're making something that's, so say, I don't know, sweater size maybe, but if you want to magic loop something that's small, these bends are going to get in your way. These are no bueno. Don't use those. Use something with a straight tip and a nice long cord. It is not possible to have too long of a cord in magic loop. It is possible to have too short. And let me get to the end of this little half and I'll show you why. Now, notice I said the end of this little half, and I have arranged these stitches so that they're split in half. That is one way that you can do magic loop, and that's the way I'm going to show you today. So if you have a tiny little piece, let's show it like this. This is a cast on of 30 stitches, and it's just knit 3, purl 3. That's all I'm working. And I have it on these nice long cords. They're really long. They don't even fit in the whole screen. And the long cords is part of what makes it flexible, and it's part of what gives me a lot of room to maneuver. So here's what you do. You take your tiny little piece, shove it down towards the end of the needles like I have, pinch it in half, towards in half, fold it. Doesn't have to be exactly half. That's not what's important. Roughly half is just fine. And then you're going to pull a loop of the cord like this. Show it again. Pinch. Grab a hold of that cord and pull it free. This is the loop in magic loop. It's in the cord. And I'm going to keep pulling until I have these tips, until I have my yarn down here at the tips of the needles, which is of course where you need your yarn. You need it down there at the tips. Now, notice that I've taken a circular piece and I've got it divided roughly in half on these two needles. The last stitch that I worked is right here, and that's important. Once you've got your stitches arranged in half, you want to make sure that the last stitch that you've worked is at the end, at this tip, in the back. You want it on the back needle. This tip, the front needle, are all the stitches you're going to work next. So once everything is ready to go, you take your back needle and pull it out as long as you need it to be free, and bring it back around so that you can knit, purl, 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 knit all the way across. That's why a nice long cord is really important, because it gives you a lot of room to maneuver. Let's see. Now I want you to just think of this as a little tiny piece that you would knit like you're knitting flat, like you're knitting back and forth. This is your left needle, and this, the needle that came from the back, is your new right needle. And you work across until you have finished off this little half, which I'm going to do, and then I'll show you the pull again. So while I'm doing that, what kind of needles are these that I like so much? Well, they're Addy Clicks lace tips. That means that it's part of a set. But the cords are really nice and flexible, and because it's part of a set, you can change out the cords and you can use a short cord or a long cord. I do like these, but you don't need an expensive set of needles. You just need something that's long, straight. And here we go. I'm coming to the end, my half. That's my last stitch. Now notice that this, which was my left tip, is free. Just lay it down. This is the last stitch that I worked. It has to be in the back. This needle has to become my back needle. This will become the next half of stitches that I work. So you take the cord and pull on it until you get your tip into position. The tip that you had pulled free will become your new left needle. The needle that's in the back, you're going to want to pull it out and towards you, and it becomes your new right needle. And that's it. As long as you keep your stitches folded and arranged in half, and always remember to pull your new right-handed needle from the back to the front, you'll be golden. And you'll be able to magic loop. And then maybe you have a happy career knitting fingerless gloves or socks, or maybe even little baby booties. You can make knit 3, Jen. You can make all sorts of small things in the round this way. Once more, knit these last 2, 1, 2. So that's my last stitch. Remember, now this needle has to be my back needle. This needle that I just freed up will become my front needle. Pull and pull and pull a lot if you have a long cord. Now take that back needle, pull it out and towards you, and there you go. You're ready to go. I hope that works for you. Enjoy.